Today is Throw Together Thursday. I'm going to show you a recipe for an appetizer called shotgun shells. Yeah, that's right. It's an appetizer. It's not for your old 12 gauge double barrel shotgun. It doesn't work for that. So I'm going to do it in two parts because the first way that I did it, I learned a few things that I wanted to apply to the second way. Both of them were suitable preparations, but I found that as I went along, some of the process was better the second time around. And I'll show you as I go along. So anyway, stay tuned. 2 videos, 1 preparation, or is that 1 appetizer, 2 preparations? Okay, I'm gonna do it in 2 videos. That's all I'm trying to say. I hope you learned something. Enjoy. I had to go to 3 different stores to find Manicotti shells, but here they are. And I'll show those off here in just a little bit. From my Sprouts local grocery store. I always look for these tags that show 35% off because it's getting a little bit long in the tooth, I guess, and too long on the shelf. So I bought 2 packages like that. Now the recipe that first gave me this idea showed chorizo as the sausage of choice. But I saw these and I thought, why not? I can go a little bit sweeter. It's an apple chicken sausage. That won't hurt a thing. The star of the show is 100% grass-fed, natural beef. I always buy grass-fed beef. That's the right way to go. I've got some peppers from my garden. I think that'll add a little bit of color. And then we're gonna have to put all kinds of spices and such in there. And to wrap our shotgun shells, we're gonna use some uncured applewood smoked bacon. Just sound like that would go nicely with the apple chicken sausage that I have over here. So let's get prepared. All right, nobody wants me to waste a bunch of time showing you how to cut a bunch of peppers, but I'll show you one and we'll go from there. That one's no good. Missed it somehow when I was washing it. So here's my Misen chef's knife that I really like right now. We can talk about that and do a deep dive on why I recommend a knife like this. But for now, let's just talk about slicing up some peppers. I'm not worried about the seeds in here because these are not hot peppers. Erudite Cowboy doesn't really care for hot peppers. I can eat them. The problem is the next day, if you know what I mean. If you don't, try them, you'll know. All right, so cutting up peppers. These will add a nice pop of color in the dish, and it will add some more sweetness as they're a nice sweet pepper. You can do a few at a time if you want. You just have to be a little slower as you go, holding them steady, and making sure you don't get your fingers up under the blade of your knife, because that would be a bad thing. All right, chicken sausage. I gotta get the casings off of these because they've got natural casing on there, and I don't want that in my final product. Don't need it. Doesn't help anything. Doesn't add anything. All right, what I like to do, just when I'm doing something that's just got to be rough and ready, quick like that, I just slice down the whole thing and then just turn it inside out. Just get that meat out of there. Like so. Something like that. If you got something that's giving you some trouble, here, let me turn it around and you can see it. If it's giving you any trouble, just grab the casing like so and pull it away while your fingers pinch the rest of the casing, and that will, I'll put that over there for the dog, and that will allow, sorry about that, my throat's been bothering me. Just wanted to add that I see little bits of apple in here. That's what, whoops, here we go, put it up here. You can see little bits of apple that's in the sausage here, and it's got a very nice, sweet, appley kind of a scent. So where others might go kind of with the spicy, with the jalapeno and all that kind of stuff, I'm more going with some of the sweet and some colorful with the red peppers, the white apple. I think that will make for a really nice, tasty little appetizer that Mrs. Erudite Cowboy can eat. Because let me tell you, she doesn't do hot stuff. Now I'll have some hot barbecue sauce, but not too much of it, just a little bit. and I may reserve a few off the side without the sauce so that Mrs. Erudite Cowboy can enjoy it too. Because she doesn't go for anything hotter than ketchup, pretty much. Now, because these shells, shotgun shells, they're gonna be stuffed with the meat, I don't want anything that's coarse in there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my meat that I have and I'm gonna grind it an extra time. What I'll do is I'll weave in the sausage with the beef so that it's already kind of well ground or well mixed, I should say, before I even really get going. It'll make things a lot easier for when I get ready to stuff those shells. While I'm at it, I'll run those babies through the grinder too. That way everything will be nice and small. You won't end up having an appetizer that you bite into and a big long piece of stringy beef is in there and you end up slopping barbecue sauce all over your shirt. So that's how we're gonna go about it. Let me get started. Here's the setup. I've got the old KitchenAid mixer, a stand mixer with this PTO here on the front. All you farmers will know about PTOs. It's a power takeoff. What that allows you to do is to hook up various implements to that. And in this case, what I've got is a meat grinder. I'll shove the meat down in here and it will, through the use of an auger, will push that meat out through here. There's a blade in there that rotates around and cuts it off finer than it starts. So you can do that with chunks of beef and such, but I'm gonna be running through the meat that's already been ground once so that I'll get a finer chop on it and it'll drop down in here into this basket and then, or bucket, I should say. And then what I can do is put that back on the machine. Once I put it back on the machine, I can use a dough hook to mix it up and make sure everything's a nice homogeneous mixture. All right, so now I got all that meat in there. Go ahead and bring the bowl up here. I'm gonna start getting it all incorporated together. This is when I want to start adding spices. So let's look at what kind of spices we want to do in here. Let me go get them. All right, so I picked up a few things I think I'm gonna like in there. For one, you gotta have some salt. You've got this Celtic light gray, fine ground sea salt right here. So we're gonna put enough in there to make a difference, so let's drop some in there. How much? I don't know. You saw how much was in there before? So that's how much is left. So that'll give you an idea. Now the next thing we're gonna do, because we don't want it completely without any heat, I'm gonna put some crushed red pepper in there. But again, not too much. Just enough to make it interesting, like so. There's about 4 pounds of meat in there, so that's how much we're gonna put. Now, because we're going with the apples love cinnamon. Here you go. We're gonna put some cinnamon in there too. How much? A few shakes, like that. All meat likes garlic, so here we go. I'm gonna go with some granulated garlic here. How much? Not as much as the others. Just a little bit. Kind of make it interesting. And of course, we need some ground black pepper in there. Oh, look at this. See what I have for that? It's actually a little coffee grinder, but my little sister bought that for me so I can grind up peppercorns. Look at that. I don't know, I usually count the cranks when I care, but I don't really care this time. So we're just gonna put in that much pepper. There we go. Fresh ground pepper has a lot. Now, this is one of those things you can't taste along the way. So you really got to kind of go with your gut. Because you can't be tasting raw meat. You grab a wooden spoon. I can push all this down in there, make sure it's getting mixed up again. Another thing that's going to help, you might think this is weird, it needs a little juice. I'm going to throw a little water in there. That'll help it all kind of emulsify and get together. Get your spices working with the meat and everything else, kind of coat it, help it to move around, lubricate it. Because when you see how I'm going to stuff those shells, well, you'll know you need a little bit of liquid in there for that. You'll see. All right, let's see how that's looking. Well, you can't tell the beef from the chicken, so that's well mixed. It smells like the spices I put in there. Yep, smelling nice. So I'm gonna say we're good. Put this over there and let's go ahead and just give this a little bit of a turn here just to see what we're looking at. See that? See, everything looks looking pretty good. Got specks of color in there like I wanted from the chili, from the peppers that I put in there, the chili peppers. Bits of white from the apple, you can still see that in there. And then plenty of good smelling spices in there. So let's go from here and start putting things together. I've got a tool here called a jerky gun. It's pretty much a caulking gun, but made of food grade materials and reusable. You stuff stuff in there and push it out the end, just like you would caulk. But it's set up for food, made to make jerky and that sort of thing. But I think that tip right there might work just beautifully for stuffing my manicotti shells. Let's take a look. There's a manicotti shell. And look at that, it fits, whoops, had my finger in there. Fits perfectly over there. So I'm gonna get the stuffing. You don't care to see that, do you? Nah, I didn't think so. Let me get that going. All right, assembly of the gun means you just put that tip inside the cap, screw the cap on one end of the tube. Now I'm gonna fill this with meat, and I'm gonna stick it on the mechanism here, and then we will push that out right into the manicottis, the shells there, and we'll go from there. I'll show you what's next. I'm gonna put that out of the way. There you go. Tube full of meat. Screw on the gun. We'll grab some manicotti shells. See what kind of damage I can do. Whoa! Gotta be careful not to shove them on there too hard. This will be a tester. The guy whose recipe I'm kind of copying here had taken his manicotti shells. I'll show you what he did with them. Yeah, that one's better. He basically took his manicotti shell like so in one hand, and a glob of meat in the other, and just kind of kept edging it up in there until he filled the tube. But that, as you can imagine, took a little bit of time. Not as much as, or not as quick as this. Look at that. You can see the meat when it gets down to the end, and I got my finger on the end so I can feel it. There we go. I don't care if a little bit sticks out. That's not gonna hurt anything. We'll just keep on going. I got plenty of manicotti shells. I had to go to 3 different grocery stores to find these. Can you believe it? I got 2 Safeways that are within 2 miles of me. Both of them, yeah. And both of them were out of them. In fact, there was a label where the manicottis belong, so it's not that I just couldn't find them. That was not the issue. But there was a label that said temporarily out of stock from the manufacturer. So their manufacturer was having issues getting them manicotti shells. But then I went to fries, and fries was my hero this time, I'm glad to say, because I've got Manicotti shells. I went ahead and bought 3 boxes of them. I'm sure that's gonna be enough. Whatever is not enough, well, I can go ahead and take this meat and make jerky out of it, or I can just fry it up or bake it so that I've got some pre-cooked meat to throw on my pizzas. That's how I like my sausages. I like the sausage pre-cooked so that in the 10, 12 minutes or so that it takes to cook up a pizza, that sausage is already cooked. It wouldn't be otherwise. So I gotta be careful about this. I'm finding these things are wanting to crack if I try to put too much pressure on them. There's a little bit of cracks right up there. I don't know if you can see that little bit of a crack right there. That's not gonna hurt anything, I'm sure of it. I'm not worried about it. It's not like I broke it up like that first one, yeah. I made a mess of that first one. So anyway, trying to be careful about it, a little bit delicate with it. This applewood smoked bacon just looks beautiful, doesn't it? Nice and lean. Lots of meat in there. Now I don't think I'm gonna need full long strips to wrap those little shotgun shells. Let's take a look and see how much it takes. All right, let's see what it takes to take one of our filled shotgun shells. See, the meat mixture in there. Let's see how much of this bacon it takes to stuff one of these. There we go. I think, just because I've got so many of these shells, I'm gonna show you what I got. I took 2 boxes of shells for all those. Whoops, I'm gonna start damaging those things. So I think I wanna cheat a little bit, and I wanna cut these in half, the strips of bacon. I can stretch them a little bit. I'm gonna cut right about where I think the half mark is. And then we'll go ahead and just wrap this around the middle. I think that's gonna be good enough. Yeah, that should be good enough. I think that'll do plenty for that. Well, let me stretch it a little bit more. There we go. Get it on there nice and tight. Whoops, out of frame here. Get it on there nice and tight and stretched out. And there, almost the whole thing's covered now. Bacon. I like that a little bit better. So I'm gonna try to do them all like that. All right, so now I'm gonna take my little pellet grill, get her fired up. It's supposed to be about 275. Closest I've got is 250. I think that'll bring it right up to about 275. I'm gonna let her warm up for a little bit, and then I'll come out and stick my shotgun shells on there. All right, so the next day I've gone and taken these out of the fridge, arranged them on wire racks. They're just about ready to go into the smoker. All right, now we're nice and heated. Perfect 275 there. What it's showing 270 down here. Close enough, I say. So we're gonna take this beautiful tray of shotgun shells and throw them on the grill. One. And there's 2. Tight, but they'll fit. I'm gonna set my timer for about an hour. Check back on them then. All right, so everything's been cooking along nicely for about an hour. So now it's time to kick this baby up to 350. There you go. It says it's only running at 250 right now, so, but I can hear things sizzling in there, so everything should be happy. I'm gonna kick it up to 350 and put a little scorch on the outside of that, I guess. Guess that's what you'd say. Anyway, makes it good. We'll come back in about 10 minutes and add some barbecue sauce. All right, it's time to slather on a little bit of barbecue sauce. I went with a hot barbecue sauce just from my local grocery store. This one's Kinder's. I don't know anything about it. It tastes good though. Had a little taste of it. I'm gonna go ahead and open them up. Oh, those babies are really looking good. I probably should have put more bacon on there, but I didn't have enough. So next time I'll make sure I buy twice as much bacon so I can put a full strip on there and go around it a lot more and cover everything up. All right, I'm gonna slather on the barbecue sauce, like so, all over these babies. And we're gonna let them go another 5 minutes or so, just to kind of set that on there. So, I'll be back. All right, so there we go. We got sauce on all of these babies, just enough to make it interesting. I'm gonna seal this up and let it go for another 5 minutes. All right, so that's the time. Never really got up to that 350, but I think it's gonna turn out okay anyway. Oh yeah, look at that. Got just a nice color on them. The barbecue sauce is set up nicely, so I'm gonna turn this off, go ahead and put them in this dish, make them look sexy, serve them to my friends.